lid on?
It's paint, Mr. Lovejoy, not tea.
Huh? Oh, that's what I meant, of course. You can't stir paint with the lid on the tin.
Oh.
What you looking for?
I need something to open the tin with. Where's that screwdriver?
Oh, here it is.
Thanks. Right. While I'm stirring the paint, Mr. Lovejoy, you can clean the brushes.
Yes. I'd love a cup of tea.
So, Coco is stirring the paint, and Mr. Lovejoy is cleaning the brushes. They've painted the first coat on the walls. Now they're going to paint the woodwork.
The woodwork.
The doors are made of wood.
The window frames are made of wood.
They're going to paint the doors and windows.
They're going to paint the woodwork.
Yes, they're going to paint the woodwork while they're waiting.
While they're waiting for the walls to dry.
While they're waiting for the paint to dry.
The paint's still wet.
It isn't dry yet.
Still wet.
Not dry yet.
Wet.
Dry.
And how long does the paint take to dry?
Look at the instructions.
The instructions say, allow 2 to 4 hours for the first coat to dry.
How long does the paint take to dry? How long does the paint take to dry?
It takes 2 to 4 hours to dry. It takes 2 to 4 hours to dry.
Yes, allow 2 to 4 hours for the paint to dry. They've got to wait. So they're going to paint the woodwork while they're waiting. Now, you put emulsion on the walls, but you put gloss on the woodwork.
Emulsion.
Gloss.
But before you put on the gloss, you have to put on the undercoat.
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 The coat of paint that goes under the gloss.
Undercoat.
Undercoat.
First, you put on the undercoat.
Then you put on the gloss.
Yes. Before you put on the gloss, you have to put on the undercoat. And because they're different sorts of paint, you have to clean the brushes. So, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy paint the walls.
With emulsion.
And while they're waiting for the walls to dry, they paint the woodwork.
With undercoat.
But it doesn't take them long to put on the undercoat. In fact, they're just finishing now.
There, we've finished the undercoat, Mr. Lovejoy. The woodwork's going to look very nice.
Yes, it is.
How long does it take to dry?
Read the instructions, lad. Read the instructions.
Allow 4 to 6 hours for the undercoat to dry. Right. We can paint the second coat on the walls while we're waiting. I'll stir the emulsion. You can clean the brushes.
Right. Clean the brushes.
Hey, Mr. Lovejoy, the walls aren't dry yet.
What? Oh, yes. They're still wet.
What are we going to do?
We, Coco, are going to have a nice cup of tea while we wait.
The milk's off, Mr. Lovejoy.
Oh, well, let's buy some fresh milk.
Right, I'll go to the shop, Mr. Lovejoy.
Good lad. Oh, a cup of tea.
And there we leave Coco and Mr. Lovejoy, waiting for the paint to dry, and preparing to have a cup of tea with fresh milk while they wait. The technical expressions in today's programme were
A can of paint.
A tin of paint.
Take the lid off.
Put the lid on.
Stir the paint.
Clean the brushes.
When I've stirred the paint, we can start.
To start painting.
To stop painting.
How long does the paint take to dry?
Read the instructions. What do the instructions say?
The paint takes 2 to 4 hours to dry.
The paint is still wet.
It isn't dry yet.
We can paint the woodwork while we're waiting.
Join us next time for more everyday technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work, oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
Ugh. Oh, this tea's disgusting, Coco. The milk is off.
That's not milk, Mr. Lovejoy, it's paint.
Then the paint's off too.
Goodbye. Mr. Lovejoy has bought an old house which needs restoring.
To restore,
To do up.
to make good again,
And he's doing it up himself.
with the help of his young friend Coco.
Yes. Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work. Oh yes, it'll be all their own work. Yes, it will.
In today's programme, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy have a problem. There's a mark on the ceiling,
Not on the walls,
Not on the floor.
but on the ceiling.
The ceiling is white.
but there's a mark on it.
You can see the mark because the ceiling is white.
Perhaps the mark is black.
Perhaps it's red.
Perhaps it's green.
Anyway, you can see the mark on the white ceiling because the mark isn't white.
There's a mark on my shirt, a black mark.
Your shirt needs washing.
There's a mark on my trousers, a red mark.
They need cleaning.
There's a mark on my tie, a green mark.
Your tie needs cleaning. In fact, you're a mess today.
And there's a mark on Mr. Lovejoy's ceiling.
There is a mark on his ceiling.
There's a mark on his ceiling.
What caused the mark?
Why is it there?
How did it happen?
What caused it?
What caused the Second World War?
What caused the Vietnam War?
What causes cancer?
The verb cause.
Perhaps the mark was caused by fire. Perhaps the mark was caused by fire.
Caused by.
Caused by fire.
Perhaps the mark was caused by water.
Perhaps. We don't know yet. We don't know what caused the mark. Here are Coco and Mr. Lovejoy. It's 9 o'clock in the morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lovejoy.
Morning, Coco.
Did you sleep well?
Yes, I slept very well, thank you.
Hey, there's a mark on the ceiling, Mr. Lovejoy.
Yeah, I know.
What is it?
It's a mark on the ceiling, Coco.
I know, but what caused it?
It was caused by water, Coco.
Oh, no. Is the roof leaking?
No, the roof isn't leaking. I had an accident.
An accident? Are you okay?
Oh, yes, I'm fine, thanks.
What happened?
I went into the bathroom.
Yes.
I turned on the tap.
Yes.
I washed my hands.
Yes.
Then I went to bed.
You went to bed?
Yes, I went to bed. I left the tap on.
Oh, I see. You left the tap on.
Yeah. The water leaked through the floor and caused that wet mark.
But you slept well.
Oh, yes. I always sleep well.
So, the mark on the ceiling was caused by water. Now, every house has a roof. A roof.
In Mr. Lovejoy's house, the sitting room is under the bathroom,
The bathroom is under the attic.
and the attic is under the roof.
The roof.
The roof keeps the rain out.
The roof keeps water out.
The roof keeps the house dry.
Yes, but sometimes the roof leaks.
The rain comes in.
Water comes in.
If the roof leaks, the house gets wet inside.
It's raining.
But the rain isn't coming in.
Water isn't coming in.
We aren't getting wet because the roof isn't leaking.
And the mark on Mr. Lovejoy's ceiling wasn't caused by rain because his roof isn't leaking. And the mark wasn't caused by a burst pipe either.
A burst pipe.
This is a pipe.
It's a water pipe.
It's got water in it.
If it bursts, the water will come out.
To burst. Now, here we have 3 balloons.
We have a red balloon. Oh, it burst.
The balloon burst.
The air came out.
We have a blue balloon. Oh, it burst.
The balloon burst.
The air came out.
And we have a yellow balloon. Oh, it burst.
Yes, all 3 balloons burst.
The air came out.
To burst. And sometimes pipes burst.
They have water in them.
They burst.
The water comes out.
But that mark wasn't caused by a pipe.
Because Mr. Lovejoy's pipes didn't burst.
No, the roof isn't leaking. And his pipes didn't burst. No, Mr. Lovejoy caused the mark.
He had an accident.
This is an accident.
Ooh, excuse me. Look out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. It was an accident.
And this is an accident.
Oh, excuse me. Look out.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. It was an accident.
Yes, they were accidents. And Mr. Lovejoy had an accident. He left the tap on.
To turn a tap on.
To turn a tap off.
On.
Off.
Turn on.
Turn off.
Mr. Lovejoy turned a tap on, but he didn't turn it off. He left the tap on.
Leave. Left.
He left it on,
Leave. Left.
and the water leaked through the floor.
It leaked through the floor.
It went through the floor.
Yes, the water leaked through the floor of the bathroom and caused the wet mark on the ceiling of the sitting room. The next morning, there is another problem.
Morning, Mr. Lovejoy.
Good morning, Coco.
Did you sleep well?
Yes, I slept very well.
Hey, Mr. Lovejoy, there's another mark on the ceiling.
Huh? Yes.
Well, what caused this one?
It was caused by water, Coco.
Did you leave the basin tap on again?
Oh, no.
Is the roof leaking?
No, the roof is fine.
Oh, so it was a burst pipe.
No, it wasn't a burst pipe. I had an accident.
Oh, I see. Another accident.
Yes.
What happened?
I turned on the bath, then I went to bed.
What about the bath?
I forgot about it.
I see. You left the taps running.
Yes, I left the taps running and the bath overflowed.
Oh.
The water leaked through the floor and caused another mark on the ceiling.
But you slept well.
Oh, yes. I always sleep well, Coco.
So, there's another mark on the ceiling. Mr. Lovejoy had another accident.
A mark.
Another mark.
An accident.
Another accident.
The roof isn't leaking.
And a pipe didn't burst.
No, Mr. Lovejoy had another accident. Now, in the bathroom, there's a bath. It has taps on it.
Bath taps.
And there's a basin. It has taps on it too.
Basin taps.
Bath taps.
Basin taps.
Bath.
Basin.
This time, Mr. Lovejoy didn't turn a basin tap on. He turned the bath taps on. And he left them on.
He didn't leave a basin tap on.
He left the bath taps on.
Bath tap.
Basin tap.
Bath.
Basin.
These taps are on.
These taps are running.
The taps are on.
The taps are running.
The bath is on.
The bath is running.
You can say,
The taps are on.
or you can say,
The bath is on.
you can say,
The bath is running.
and Mr. Lovejoy left the taps running. He left the bath running, and the bath overflowed.
To overflow.
Overflow.
flow, overflow.
If there is too much water in a glass, the glass overflows.
If there is too much water in a river, the river overflows.
If there is too much water in a bath, the bath overflows.
To overflow.
If a glass overflows, the water floods the table.
To flood. To flood the table.
If a river overflows, the water floods the area near the river.
To flood. To flood the area.
If a bath overflows, the water floods the floor.
To flood. To flood the floor. Why is the table wet?
The glass overflowed. It flooded the table.
And why was Mr. Lovejoy's bathroom floor wet?
The bath overflowed. It flooded the floor.
Yes, the water flooded the floor. Then it leaked through the floor again and caused another mark on the sitting room ceiling. Now it's 9 o'clock in the morning on the following day.
Good morning, Mr. Lovejoy.
Good morning, Coco.
Did you sleep well?
Yes, I slept very well.
Hey, Mr. Lovejoy, there's another mark on the ceiling.
Yes.
What caused it this time?
It was caused by water again, Coco.
Did you go to bed and leave a tap running again?
Of course not.
Well, what happened?
I fell asleep in the bath.
You fell asleep in the bath with the taps on?
Yes. The bath overflowed. The water flooded the bathroom floor.
Oh.
Then the water leaked through the floor
And caused another mark on the ceiling.
Right.
And did you sleep well in the bath?
Oh, yes. I always sleep well, Coco.
And there we leave our friends with 3 marks on the ceiling so far. The technical expressions in today's programme were:
There's a mark on the ceiling.
What caused it?
It was caused by water.
We had an accident.
A pipe burst.
A basin.
A bath tap.
The taps are on.
The bath is running.
We left the bath taps on.
We left the bath taps running.
The bath overflowed.
The water flooded the floor.
The water leaked through the floor.
Join us next time for more everyday technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work.
Good morning, Mr. Lovejoy.
Good morning, Coco.
Did you sleep well?
Yes, I slept very well. Coco,
Yes, Mr. Lovejoy.
I've got some good news.
What's the good news, Mr. Lovejoy?
The roof isn't leaking and the pipes are fine.
Goodbye. Mr. Lovejoy has bought an old house which needs restoring.
To restore,
To do up.
to make good again,
And he's doing it up himself.
with the help of his young friend Coco.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work. Oh yes, it'll be all their own work. Yes, it will.
Today, Coco is worried. He's worried about the sitting room ceiling.
Is the ceiling dangerous?
Or is it safe?
Dangerous.
Safe.
Some drivers are dangerous. Look out! That driver was dangerous.
This driver is safe. Yes, that driver's slow, but safe.
Dangerous.
Safe.
Yes, and Coco thinks the ceiling in the sitting room looks dangerous. Mr. Lovejoy thinks it's safe.
It needs redecorating, that's all.
The ceiling needs repainting.
The ceiling needs redecorating.
It doesn't look good because it needs redecorating, Mr. Lovejoy thinks.
To redecorate means to decorate again.
To repaint means to paint again.
Yes, the ceiling needs redecorating. But it's quite safe, Mr. Lovejoy thinks.
Is that ceiling safe, Mr. Lovejoy?
Safe? Of course it's
It
safe.
looks dangerous to me.
Nah, it isn't dangerous. It needs redecorating, that's all.
Look out!
What? Yeah. Oh! Ah! Oh! Oh, yeah.
The ceiling's collapsed, Mr. Lovejoy.
Well, I can see that. And now it needs replastering as well. Oh, what a mess.
We'd better clear it up.
Yeah.
So, the ceiling was dangerous. It collapsed.
Collapsed. Collapsed.
The ceiling collapsed.
Sit on that chair.
Right. It collapsed.
Yes, the chair collapsed. And Mr. Lovejoy's ceiling collapsed.
Now the ceiling needs redecorating.
Decorating, redecorating.
It needs replastering.
Plastering, replastering.
The verb to plaster. And the noun plaster.
You buy plaster in a bag.
You mix it with water.
You mix it with water in a bucket.
Then you put the wet plaster on the wall.
Or you put the wet plaster on the ceiling.
It takes about 24 hours to dry.
If the old plaster on the ceiling collapses, you have to replaster the ceiling. You mix the plaster in a bucket, and you plaster the ceiling again. You replaster it. And that's what Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing.
Right. Let's mix the plaster, Coco. And get some water in that bucket, will you?
How much water?
Oh, fill the bucket about half full. I'll open this bag of plaster.
Right. A bucket of water, Mr. Lovejoy.
Ah, good. Now, mix the plaster with the water. Where's the stepladder?
In the hall.
Oh, right.
Is this plaster okay, Mr. Lovejoy?
No, it's too wet. Add more plaster, lad.
How's this?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Right. Let's replaster this ceiling. Hold the stepladder.
Is this ladder safe, Mr. Lovejoy?
Safe? Of course it's safe. Right. Pass the plaster, Coco. Thanks. Oh.
The stepladder collapsed.
You didn't hold it.
Are you okay?
Okay. Of course I'm okay. Oh, what a mess.
Yes, we'd better clear it up.
Oh dear, the stepladder collapsed.
The ceiling collapsed.
Yes, the ceiling collapsed, and now Mr. Lovejoy's stepladder has collapsed. Everything is collapsing today. To plaster a ceiling, you need a ladder.
You need a ladder to reach the ceiling.
In fact, you need a stepladder to reach the ceiling.
You need a ladder which can stand in the middle of the room.
A stepladder can stand in the middle of the room.
So, to plaster a ceiling, you need a stepladder.
But Mr. Lovejoy's stepladder collapsed.
Yes. What a mess. A mess.
Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are clearing the mess up. They're clearing it up.
To clear up a room means to clean it.
To clear up a room means to make the room nice again, to make it clean again.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are clearing up the room.
They're clearing it up.
Coco mixed some plaster.
He mixed some plaster with water.
How much water?
Half a bucket of water.
Yes, the bucket was half full.
Fill this bucket.
Okay. There. The bucket is full.
Now fill this bucket half full.
Right. The bucket is half full.
To fill is the verb. Full is the adjective.
Fill the bucket.
The bucket is full.
Fill the cup.
The cup is full.
Fill the glass.
The glass is full.
Fill is the verb. Full is the adjective. And a bucket or a cup or a glass can be half full. Coco filled the bucket half full.
He filled it half full of water.
The bucket was half full.
It was half full of water.
Full and half full. Then Coco mixed the plaster with the water.
To mix.
You can't mix oil with water,
They don't mix.
but you can mix water with emulsion paint.
Yes, they mix fine.
And you can mix water with plaster.
In fact, if you want to plaster a wall or a ceiling, you have to mix the plaster with water. You can't use plaster without mixing it with water. Plaster is a noun and a verb.
I'm going to plaster this wall.
To plaster. Plaster is a verb.
I'm going to mix this plaster with water.
This plaster. Plaster is a noun. And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are about to mix some more plaster.
Right, let's mix some more plaster. Get some water in the bucket, Coco. Fill it about half full.
Right.
Now, where's that step ladder?
Here's the water, Mr. Lovejoy.
Oh, good lad. Now, mix the plaster with the water.
Right.
Where's the step ladder?
It's in the hall.
Why is it in the hall? We need it here.
I put it there when we were clearing up. Is this plaster okay, Mr. Lovejoy?
No. It's too dry. Add more water, lad.
How's this, Mr. Lovejoy?
Oh, yes, that's perfect. Well done, lad. Right. I am going to replaster this ceiling. Hold the step ladder, Coco, and this time, hold it properly.
This ladder isn't safe, Mr. Lovejoy.
Yes, it is, lad. Pass the plaster. Thanks, Coco. I said hold the ladder properly.
It collapsed, Mr. Lovejoy.
Oh, what a mess.
Are you okay?
Yes, yes. Oh, God. Let's clear up this mess.
So, the ladder collapsed again.
Coco says it isn't safe.
Mr. Lovejoy says Coco isn't holding the ladder properly.
To hold.
Here, hold this.
What is it?
Just hold it.
Oh, what is it?
Hold it properly. Don't drop it.
Oh, dear.
I said hold it.
I couldn't hold it. It was too heavy.
You didn't hold it properly.
The verb to hold. And Mr. Lovejoy asked Coco to hold the stepladder.
He asked Coco to hold it properly.
Did he hold it properly?
I don't know. The stepladder collapsed again, and Mr. Lovejoy dropped the plaster again.
What a mess.
Now, plaster must be mixed properly.
It mustn't be too wet.
And it mustn't be too dry.
Wet. Dry.
Too wet. Too dry.
Yes, plaster must be mixed properly.
If it's too wet, add plaster.
If it's too dry, add water.
Add.
This coffee is black. I want white coffee.
Then add some milk.
Add.
This tea hasn't got any sugar in it. I like tea with sugar in it.
Then add some sugar.
Add.
This plaster is too dry.
Then add some water.
Add.
This plaster's too wet.
Then add some plaster.
Add.
Add some milk.
Add some sugar.
Add some water.
Add some plaster.
And if you haven't got any milk, or any sugar, or any water, or any plaster, you can ask for it like this.
Pass the sugar, please.
Here you are.
Thanks. Pass the milk, please.
Here you are.
Thanks.
Pass the milk.
Pass the sugar.
Pass the water.
Pass the plaster.
Yes. If you want something, you can ask for it. Now, here are Coco and Mr. Lovejoy.
Right. For the third time, let's mix some plaster.
I'll get the water.
Fill the bucket about half full. Hey, where's the stepladder?
It's in the hall.
Oh, why is it in the hall? We need it in here.
Water, Mr. Lovejoy. Mr. Lovejoy?
You got the water. Good lad. Mix the plaster with the water as you did before. Yeah, this stepladder's fine.
I think it's dangerous.
It is when you don't hold it properly.
Is this plaster too wet?
Huh? Yes, 'tis a bit. Add a little more plaster. Yeah, not too much. That's it. Right. Now, if you hold this ladder, I'll replaster the ceiling.
This ladder is dangerous, Mr. Lovejoy.
Not if you hold it properly. OK, pass the plaster, please, Coco. Thanks. There.
And there we leave Mr. Lovejoy plastering the ceiling. The technical expressions in today's programme were:
The ceiling is dangerous.
It isn't safe.
The ceiling collapsed.
Let's clear up the mess.
Let's clear it up.
The ceiling needs redecorating.
To decorate, to redecorate.
To plaster, to replaster.
Mix the plaster with water.
Fill the bucket with water.
The bucket is full.
Full, half full.
Pass the plaster, please.
Hold the stepladder.
The plaster's too wet.
It's too dry.
Add some water.
It's perfect.
Join us next time for more everyday technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
You're okay up there, Mr. Lovejoy?
Okay. Of course I'm okay.
Are doing up the house themselves. Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are returning from the shops. Here they are.
Have you got the key, Mr. Lovejoy?
The key? No, I gave it to you.
I haven't got it.
Oh. Well, we're locked out, Coco.
What are we going to do?
We'll have to break a window. Now, here we are.
Oi! What are you doing?
So, Coco hasn't got the key and Mr. Lovejoy hasn't got the key.
They need a key to open the front door.
To unlock the front door.
To lock.
To unlock.
Yes, the front door is locked, so they need a key to unlock the door.
But they haven't got a key.
They're locked out.
Locked out.
If you're outside and the door is locked, you're locked out.
Hey! Let me in! I'm locked out!
Barry's locked out. Come in.
And if you're inside a house and the door is locked, you're locked in.
Let me out. Hey, I'm locked in.
John's locked in.
To be locked in.
To be locked out.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy were locked out, so they broke a window, like this.
To break a window.
Mr. Lovejoy broke a window.
The window is broken.
Break, broke, broken.
The window is broken.
Yes, but at least Mr. Lovejoy and Coco are inside the house now. But what are they going to do about the broken window?
We'd better mend this window.
Mr. Lovejoy!
Oh, God.
Mr. Lovejoy!
It's Miss Bucket from next door.
Yes. Yes, Miss Bucket?
I saw a man break your window.
It's okay, Miss Bucket. It was me.
You?
Yes, I was locked out. I lost my key.
Oh!
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Look, we'd better mend the window.
Have you got the materials, Mr. Lovejoy?
Yes, I've got some glass, I've got some putty, and I've got some small nails.
What are the small nails for?
They're for holding the glass in position, lad.
Oh. And what tools do we need?
We need a tape measure, and a glass cutter, and a blanket.
A blanket? What's the blanket for?
You lay the glass on a blanket so that it doesn't break when you cut it.
Oh, I see. What shall I do?
You can remove the broken glass and the old putty from the window frame, Coco. I'll measure the window and cut the glass.
When we've mended the window, Mr. Lovejoy, we must get a new key for the front door.
Breaking windows can cause trouble if you have neighbours.
If you have people living next door to you.
If you have people living next door.
I live here. This is my front door.
I live here. This is my front door.
Your door is next to my door.
Your door is next to my door.
You live next door to me.
You live next door to me.
We live next door.
Yes, we're neighbours.
Next door neighbours.
And neighbours don't like the people next door to break windows.
That's right.
Neighbours like the people next door to have a key.
Yes, that's right.
Coco and Mr. Lovejoy must get a new key. And they must mend the broken window.
Mend it.
Fix it.
Repair it.
Yes, they must. Now, if you're going to mend a broken window, what materials do you need?
Ma-tear-re-als. Materials.
What materials do you need to mend a broken window?
You need glass.
You need putty.
You need small nails.
Glass, putty and nails.
Small nails.
And small nails are materials. They're the materials you need to mend a broken window. And Mr. Lovejoy has the materials he needs. In fact, he and Coco have mended the window. And they've got a new key. Here they are with the new key.
Coco, have you got the new key?
Yes, here it is. Oh. It doesn't fit, Mr. Lovejoy. It's the wrong key.
Oh, we're locked out again.
Oh, what are we going to do?
We'll have to break another window.
Oh, no.
Here we are. Yep.
Oi! What are you doing?
Oh, dear. It's the wrong key. The key doesn't fit.
It's too big.
Or it's too small.
It's too long.
Or it's too short.
Anyway, it doesn't fit. And they've got to mend another broken window. They're going to need more materials.
Some more putty.
Some more nails.
Some more glass.
Some more materials.
Putty is grey.
Putty is soft.
Putty is oily.
Grey, soft, oily.
You put putty round the window frame. Then you put the glass in the frame against the putty.
Putty is grey, soft and oily.
Nails are silver.
Nails are hard.
Nails are sharp.
Silver, hard, sharp.
This is a hammer. And this is a nail.
I'm going to hammer the nail into this piece of wood.
Nails are silver, hard and sharp.
And when he's mending broken windows, Mr. Lovejoy uses small nails.
They're for holding the glass.
They're for holding the glass in position.
Yes, they stop the glass falling out. Like that. Now Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are inside the house again.
Well, Coco, we'd better mend this window.
Have you got more materials?
Yes, I've got some more putty, and I've got some more nails, and I've got another piece of glass.
Mr. Lovejoy!
is Miss Bucket.
I'm in here, Miss Bucket.
Oh, Mr. Lovejoy, I saw another man break one of your windows.
It's okay, Miss Bucket. It was, me.
Again?
Yes. I was locked out.
Again?
Yes.
Mr. Lovejoy.
We're mending the window now, aren't we, Coco?
Yes, that's right. We're mending it now.
With nails?
Yes. Therefore, holding the glass in position.
Oh, that's a good idea. And, are these the tools you're using, Mr. Lovejoy?
Yes.
What's this?
It's a glass cutter.
Is it for cutting glass?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
When we've mended the window, Mr. Lovejoy, we must go back to the shop and change the new key.
Yes. To mend a window, you need materials, and you need tools. Tools.
A hammer is a tool.
A saw is a tool.
A drill is a tool.
Yes, they're tools. What tools do you need to mend a window?
You need a measuring tape.
Which you can also call a tape measure.
What's a tape measure for?
What is it for?
It's for measuring the glass.
For measuring.
Yes, the tape measure is for measuring the glass.
And you need a glass cutter.
What's the glass cutter for?
What is it for?
It's for cutting the glass.
For cutting.
You cut wood with a saw.
You cut paper with scissors.
And you cut glass with a glass cutter.
Yes, the glass cutter is for cutting glass. Well, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy went to change the key. Here they are back at the house.
Yoo-hoo! Mr. Lovejoy! Did you change the key?
No. The shop was, shut.
Are you going to break another window, Mr. Lovejoy?
Yes, we are.
Mr. Lovejoy is breaking a lot of windows today. Coco will have to remove the broken glass and the putty from the window frame again.
The window frame.
The wood round the window.
The door frame.
The wood round the door.
Yes, it's lucky Mr. Lovejoy's got the right tools.
Even a blanket.
Blanket.
I'm tired.
Go to bed.
Oh, I'm cold.
Here's a blanket.
Yes, Mr. Lovejoy uses a blanket so that he doesn't break the glass when he cuts it. Here he is with Miss Bucket.
You'd better mend that window, Mr. Lovejoy.
Yes, I know, Miss Bucket.
Have you got the materials, Mr. Lovejoy?
Yes,
Have you got another piece of glass?
yes, and I've got some more putty.
What's the putty for, Mr. Lovejoy?
It stops the rain coming in.
Shall I remove the broken glass and the putty from the window frame?
Thanks, Coco. I'll measure the glass and cut it. Right.
Is the blanket one of the tools you use, Mr. Lovejoy?
Well, it's not really a tool.
What's it for?
You lay the glass on the blanket so that it doesn't break when you cut it.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
Mr. Lovejoy, we must go back to the shop and change the key tomorrow.
And there we leave Mr. Lovejoy mending the window. The technical expressions in today's programme were:
The door is locked.
To lock. To unlock.
Have you got the key?
We're locked out.
We're locked in.
Break the window.
The window is broken.
A broken window.
Mend the window.
Mend it. Fix it. Repair it.
We've got the materials.
Glass, putty, nails.
And we've got the tools.
A tape measure.
A glass cutter.
What's the glass cutter for?
It's for cutting the glass.
Join us next time for more Everyday Technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
Mr. Lovejoy,
Yes, Miss Bucket.
break another window.
Not today, Miss Bucket. I've got a new key.
Oh dear, what a shame.
Goodbye.
And if you'd like to receive the companion notes for the series, then just write to this address. All My Own Work, BBC English, Bush House, London. Meanwhile, Mr. Lovejoy and Coco will be back at the same time next week. Coming shortly, Pat Whitehorn looks at Britain as a multicultural society in Britain now. Meanwhile, in tomorrow's programmes at this time, you can hear our listening drama, Radio Channel, and that's followed then by more essential grammar rules from Professor Grammar. English teaching programmes tomorrow here on BBC World Service.
All My Own Work, a course in Everyday Technical English. Mr. Lovejoy has bought an old house which needs restoring.
To restore.
To do up.
To make good again.
And he's doing it up himself.
With the help of his young friend Coco.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work. Oh yes, it'll be all their own work. Yes, it will.
Mr. Lovejoy has got a new workbench.
You can saw wood on a workbench.
You can hammer nails on a workbench.
You can cut glass on a workbench.
Yes, a workbench is for working on. And Mr. Lovejoy's workbench is a good one.
It's got drawers.
You can put nails and screws in the drawers.
It's got cupboards.
You can put tools in the cupboards.
Yes, it's a good workbench.
And it's big.
Very big.
Will it go into the house?
Will it go through the front door?
Or is it too big? Is it too big to go into the house?
This, Coco, is my new workbench. It's got drawers and it's got cupboards. It was the biggest workbench in the shop.
But, Mr. Lovejoy, it won't go into the house.
It won't go into the house?
No.
Why not?
Because it's too big.
Nonsense. Of course we can get it in.
So, the new workbench is outside. It's outside the house.
Inside.
Outside.
In.
Out.
Yes, it's outside. And Mr. Lovejoy wants to get it inside. This car is outside. Outside Richard's garage.
It's outside my garage.
The car won't go into the garage.
It won't fit into the garage.
The entrance is too narrow.
The entrance of the garage is too narrow.
The car is too big.
It's too wide. But I want to get it into my garage.
It won't go into his garage.
I want to get it into my garage. So I'm going to knock the wall down. There. Now the car will go into the garage. Now it will go in.
Now he can get the car into the garage. Now he can get it in.
The car went in.
He got the car into the garage.
And Mr. Lovejoy wanted to get his workbench into his house.
Mr. Lovejoy. This workbench is too big to go into the house.
Nonsense, Coco.
I suppose we could take it apart and carry it into the house in pieces.
In pieces?
Yes.
Carry my new workbench into the house in pieces?
Yes.
Never.
Well, how are we going to get it into the house?
Through the front door.
Through the front door?
Uh-huh.
It's too big to go through the front door, Mr. Lovejoy.
Nonsense. Come on, Coco. You take that in. Now, lift it up. 1, 2, 3. Lift. How's your end, Coco?
It won't go, Mr. Lovejoy. The doorway's too narrow.
OK, then put the workbench down.
It's heavy.
Let's try turning the workbench on its side. 1, 2, 3. Lift.
It still won't go through the door. It might go in if we take the legs off.
What, take the legs off my new workbench? Never.
Then leave it outside.
Are you mad? It might rain.
Then take the legs off. You can put them back on when the workbench is inside.
Oh, very well then. I'll take the legs off my new workbench.
So, Mr. Lovejoy's new workbench is very big and very heavy.
Is this table heavy?
I don't know.
Can you lift it?
I don't know. No, I can't lift it. It's too heavy.
OK. You take that end.
Take.
I'll take this end.
Take.
A table has two ends.
And a table has two sides.
The ends are short.
The sides are long. You take that end. I'll take this end.
Now, lift the table up.
1, 2, 3. Lift!
And put it down.
Lift it up.
Put it down.
Lift the table up.
Put the table down.
Coco and Mr. Lovejoy can lift the workbench. They can lift it up, but they can't get it through the doorway. The doorway is the entrance.
When the door is open, you can go in.
The doorway is clear. It's free.
When the door is shut, you can't go in.
Because the doorway is not clear. It's not free.
The doorway. And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy can't get the new workbench through the doorway because the workbench is very big.
It's not too heavy to lift.
It's not too big to carry.
But it's too wide to go through the doorway.
Too big to go in.
Too heavy to lift.
Too big to carry.
Too wide to go through.
Too young to die.
Too tired to work.
Too old to dance.
Too wide to jump.
Yes, and this workbench is too wide to go through the doorway.
It's a very big workbench.
Well, it's got drawers and cupboards.
It's also got legs. And it might go into the house if they take the legs off.
If they take the legs off the workbench.
On.
Off.
It's got legs.
It's got legs on.
Take the legs.
Take the legs off.
On.
Off.
If they take the legs off, the workbench might go in. And when the workbench is inside, they can put the legs back on.
Take off.
Put on.
Take the legs off.
Put the legs on.
Here's Mr. Lovejoy. He's taken the legs off his workbench.
The legs are off my new workbench. Let's try again. You take that end, Coco. 1, 2, 3. Lift. How's your end, Coco?
It won't go. It's too big.
Okay. Put it down.
This workbench is too big to go through this door.
Nonsense. We can get it in.
Really, Mr. Lovejoy, the only way is to take it apart and carry it into the house in pieces.
Yeah, what, take my new workbench apart?
Yes, Mr. Lovejoy.
Never. Come on, Coco, let's try turning the workbench on its side. Are you ready? Lift it up. Will it go?
No, the doorway's too narrow. It might go in if we take the front door off.
Are you mad? If the front door is off, someone might walk in and steal my new workbench.
Mr. Lovejoy, you can put the door back on when the workbench is inside.
Oh, very well, then. I'll take the front door off.
So, Mr. Lovejoy is taking the front door off now.
They could take the workbench apart.
Take it apart.
I'm going to take this box apart. Yes, I'm going to take this box apart now. There. I've taken the box apart. The top is here. The bottom is there. The sides are there. The ends are there. It's in 6 pieces.
The box is in 6 pieces. OK, put the box together.
Put it together.
Right. I've put the box together. It's in 1 piece.
To take something apart.
To put something together.
To take apart.
To put together.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy could take the workbench apart, but Mr. Lovejoy doesn't want to do that.
First, you take something apart.
Then you put it together.
Then you put it back together.
Back. Back together.
First, you take something off.
Then you put it on.
Then you put it back on.
Back. Back on.
Who took my radio apart?
I did.
Well, you can put it back together.
Right.
Who took the top off my pen?
I did.
Well, you can put it back on.
Right.
Now, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy tried turning the workbench on its side.
The workbench has a back.
It has a front.
It has 2 ends.
And it has 2 sides.
Turn it on its side.
It's standing on its side.
Turn it on its end.
It's standing on its end.
Turn it on its front.
It's standing on its front.
Turn it on its back.
It's standing on its back.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy tried turning the workbench on its side, but it still didn't go in. Will it go in when the front door is off?
Right, Coco, the front door is off. Now, let's take my new workbench inside.
If it'll go in.
Of course it'll go in. You take that end. Now, 1, 2, 3. How's your end, Coco?
No, it still won't go through the door.
Oh.
Let's put it down. Mr. Lovejoy, this workbench is too big to go into the house.
Nonsense, Coco. We can get it in.
OK. How?
I think it'll go in if we turn it on its side. Now, lift it up. Is it going in?
No.
Oh.
The only way is to take the workbench apart.
Never.
And carry it into the house in pieces.
Never.
OK, then. Leave it outside.
Leave my new workbench outside?
Yes.
But it might rain.
You can put your workbench back together when it's inside, Mr. Lovejoy.
Oh, very well, then. I'll take my new workbench apart.
And there we leave Coco and Mr. Lovejoy trying to get the workbench into the house. The technical terms in this program were:
The workbench is too big to go in.
It's too big to go into the house.
The doorway is too narrow. You take that end.
Lift it up.
Put it down.
Turn it on its side.
Take the legs off.
Put the legs on.
Put the legs back on.
Take it apart.
It's in 6 pieces.
Put it together.
Put it back together.
It won't go through the door.
We can get it in.
Join us next time for more Everyday Technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
Well, your workbench is inside now, Mr. Lovejoy.
You see, Coco? I told you we could get it in.
Yes, it is.
All My Own Work, a course in Everyday Technical English. Mr. Lovejoy has bought an old house which needs restoring.
To restore.
To do up.
To make good again.
And he's doing it up himself.
With the help of his young friend Coco.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work. Oh yes, it'll be all their own work. Yes, it will.
Today, Mr. Lovejoy is hanging a new front door. He's bought a new front door and he wants to hang it.
To hang a door.
To hang a picture.
To hang a door means to put the door in position.
To hang a picture means to put the picture in position.
Mr. Lovejoy isn't putting a picture in position. He's putting a door in position.
Mr. Lovejoy isn't hanging a picture.
He's hanging a new front door.
The new front door has got a number on it. It's got the number of the house on it.
This, Coco, is our new front door.
Oh, it's really nice, Mr. Lovejoy.
Look, it's got our number on it.
81?
Huh?
Our number isn't 81.
Hey? Oh, the door's upside down. There. 18, our number.
Yes, the front door has got the number of the house on it. The number is 18.
18 upside down is 81.
Upside down.
6 upside down is 9.
Upside down.
16 upside down is 91.
Upside down.
And 18 upside down is 81.
Upside down.
Mr. Lovejoy's front door was upside down, so he turned it. He turned it the right way up.
Upside down.
The right way up.
Turn it upside down.
Turn it the right way up.
Here's a cup.
Turn it upside down.
Right. It's upside down.
Turn it the right way up.
Right. It's the right way up.
Upside down.
The right way up.
And, of course, the new front door must be the right way up. Is hanging a door an easy job?
An easy job.
A difficult job.
Easy.
Difficult.
An easy job is easy to do.
A difficult job is difficult to do.
And a job is a piece of work.
So is hanging a door an easy job?
Mr. Lovejoy thinks so.
Do you need any help, Mr. Lovejoy?
No, Coco, no. Hanging a door is easy.
It doesn't look easy.
Yes. People think it's a difficult job, but it isn't. If you're careful, you can't go wrong.
Can you show me how to do it?
Yes, of course I can. Now, first, you check that the door fits, that it's the right size.
You measure it.
No. There's a better way than that. You hold the door in position, like this. Oh, my toe.
Shall I help?
Yes. Put the door in position, Coco. Oh, you see? It's easy, and the door fits perfectly.
Oh, yes.
So, first check that the door fits. Yes. If you're careful, you can't go wrong.
Yes, Mr. Lovejoy thinks hanging a door is easy. It's an easy job.
If you're careful, you can't go wrong.
To go wrong. To make a mistake.
If you're careful, you can't make a mistake.
If you're careful, you can't go wrong.
That's what Mr. Lovejoy thinks. Now, a door must fit.
It must fit the door frame.
The door frame is the wood round the door.
The door must fit the door frame.
The door mustn't be too big.
It mustn't be too small.
It must be the right size.
It must fit.
So, Mr. Lovejoy must check that his new front door fits. You can check by measuring the door.
To measure a door.
This door is 2 meters high and 80 centimeters wide.
To measure a door.
But there's a better way. There's a better way of checking that the door fits.
There's a better way.
Good, better.
A better way.
There's an easier way.
Easy, easier.
An easier way.
There's a quicker way.
Quick, quicker.
A quicker way.
Yes, there's a better, easier, quicker way. You hold the door in position.
You hold the door in position in the door frame.
You can see immediately if the door fits.
You can see immediately if the door doesn't fit.
That's right. And Mr. Lovejoy's new front door fits. So, first you check the door fits, then you fit the hinges.
First, then.
First you do this, then you do that.
First, then.
Yes. First you check the door fits, then you fit the hinges. The hinges.
Hinges.
Hinges hold the door in position.
They connect the door to the door frame.
These are hinges.
They need oiling.
And these are hinges.
Oh, they need oiling too.
Hinges.
Yes. First you check the door fits, then you fit the hinges. Now, fit has two meanings. Listen.
The door fits.
Fit the hinges on the door.
The door fits. It's the right size.
That's one meaning.
Fit the door. Hang the door.
That's the other meaning.
To fit a telephone in a car. Hello?
To fit a bell on a bicycle.
To fit a door knocker on a front door.
Yes. Fit has two meanings.
The door fits.
Fit the hinges on the door.
Now, Mr. Lovejoy is going to fit the hinges on his front door.
Yes, as I say, hanging a door is an easy job. First, you check that the door fits. Then, you fit the hinges on the door.
Is that easy too?
Oh, yes. Now, look, the hinge positions on the door frame are on the right side.
Yes.
So, I must fit the hinges on the right side of the door.
I see.
the hinges on the door must fit the hinge positions on the door frame.
So you measure the door frame, and you measure the position of the hinge positions, and you measure the door.
No. There's an easier way than that. You hold the door in position, but this time in the open position, like this. Now, the hinge positions on the door frame are here and here. So the hinges must go on the door here and here. Then you mark the positions on the door with a pencil. There, you see? You can't go wrong.
But then the number will be on the inside, Mr. Lovejoy.
What number?
18. The number of the house. It's on the inside.
Oh, the door's back to front. Oh, Annie! That's my toe again.
Shall I help you, Mr. Lovejoy?
So, Mr. Lovejoy's front door is back to front.
The number is on the inside.
The number should be on the outside.
The inside?
The outside.
Yes, the door is back to front.
The front of the door is on the inside.
The back of the door is on the outside.
So, the door is back to front. Your jumper is back to front.
The front is at the back.
The back is at the front.
Yes, your jumper is back to front.
Oh, so it is.
Take it up and turn it round.
Take it off.
Turn it round.
Right. There. It's the right way round.
Back to front.
The right way round.
If something is back to front, you turn it round. So, it's the right way round.
If your jumper is back to front, you turn it round. So, it's the right way round.
Back to front.
The right way round.
Now, when the door is the right way round, and when it's the right way up, you hold it in position.
You hold it in the open position.
And you mark the hinge positions with a pencil.
To mark the positions with a pencil.
To mark the places with a pencil.
To mark with a pencil. Then you cut spaces for the hinges.
You cut spaces in the side of the door.
If you don't cut spaces for the hinges, the door won't close.
To cut.
To cut a space.
To cut a space for the hinge.
To cut spaces for the hinges in the side of the door.
Not the top of the door.
Not the bottom of the door.
Not the back of the door.
Not the front of the door.
But the side of the door.
Yes. First you mark the positions, the hinge positions, with a pencil. Then you cut spaces in the side of the door with a chisel.
A space, a place, a position.
With a chisel.
A chisel.
Yes, you cut spaces with a chisel. It's easy. Here's Mr. Lovejoy.
See, Coco, it isn't a difficult job. First, you check that the door fits.
By holding the door in position.
That's right, Coco. Then you mark the positions on the door where the hinges must go.
By holding the door in the open position and marking the places.
That's right. Then you cut spaces in the side of the door for the hinges.
You cut spaces in the side of the door?
Yes, Coco, for the hinges.
Why do you do that?
So the door will close.
Oh, I see.
If you don't cut spaces for the hinges, the door won't close.
So you measure the hinges?
No. There's a quicker way than that. You hold the hinges in position and mark the places with a pencil, like this. Then you cut out the spaces for the hinges with a chisel. You see, Coco, hanging a door is really a very easy job.
So, Mr. Lovejoy is hanging his new front door, but we must leave him. The technical expressions in today's programme were
First check the door fits.
Then fit the hinges.
The door's upside down.
Turn it the right way up.
It's the right way up.
The door's back to front.
Turn it the right way round.
It's the right way round.
It's an easy job.
It's a difficult job.
Put the door in position.
Hold the door in position.
There's a better way than that. Mark the position with a pencil.
The position, the place.
The hinges on the door must fit the hinge positions on the door frame.
Join us next time for more everyday technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
There, Coco. The new front door is now in position.
But, Mr. Lovejoy, we're number 18, not 81.
Eh?
And the number's on the inside.
What?
The door's back to front and upside down.
There. You see what happens if you aren't careful, Coco.
Mr. Lovejoy has bought an old house which needs restoring.
To restore.
To do up.
To make good again.
And he's doing it up himself.
With the help of his young friend, Coco.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work. Oh yes, it'll be all their own work. Yes, it will.
Today, Mr. Lovejoy is concerned about paint, tins of paint. He has lots of tins of paint, and he needs somewhere to put them. He needs a shelf.
A shelf.
Shelf.
A shelf is on the wall.
Or in a cupboard.
And you put things on it.
A shelf for books.
It's on the wall, and you put books on it.
A shelf for glasses.
It's in a cupboard, and you put glasses on it.
And Mr. Lovejoy needs a shelf for his tins of paint.
It will be on the wall, and he can put the tins of paint on it.
Yes, Mr. Lovejoy needs a shelf.
We need a shelf here, Coco, to put our tins of paint on.
Right. I'll do that, Mr. Lovejoy. I'll plan it, I'll buy the materials, and I'll put it up.
And I'll help you.
Oh, no, you won't. I'm going to do it by myself. It'll be all my own work.
But what about me? What am I going to do?
You can read a book.
Oh, all right. But if you have any problems, you must call me.
OK, Mr. Lovejoy. But I won't have any problems.
So, Coco is going to put the shelf up.
To put a shelf up.
To put it on the wall.
To put a picture up.
Put it on the wall.
The opposite is take down.
If you don't like a shelf, you can take it down.
If you don't like a picture, you can take it down.
Put up.
Take down.
Put it up.
Take it down.
Yes. Coco is going to put the shelf up. And he's going to buy the materials.
The wood.
The brackets.
The screws.
The materials.
Materials.
Yes, he's going to buy the materials. This table is supported by legs.
It's supported by 4 legs.
Supported by.
This chair is supported by legs.
It's supported by 4 legs.
Supported by.
And this shelf, this bookshelf, is supported by brackets.
It's supported by 3 brackets. 1, 2, 3.
Supported by 3 brackets.
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 Wooden brackets.
Metal brackets.
Wooden brackets are made of wood.
Metal brackets are made of metal.
This is wood.
This is metal.
Now a shelf must be level.
Level.
If one end is high and the other end is low, then the shelf is not level. And if it isn't level, things will fall off. Like this.
Put those glasses on the shelf, please.
Right.
Oh dear. The shelf isn't level. Is Coco's shelf level?
How's the shelf going, Coco?
Fine, Mr. Lovejoy. I've almost finished.
Any problems?
No, everything's fine. How's the book?
Book? Oh, fine, lad, fine. Coco, can I see the new shelf?
Oh, yes, of course. This is the shelf. It's supported by these two metal brackets.
Excellent, Coco. That's very good.
Thank you.
Is the shelf level?
Yes, I think so.
It doesn't look level to me. The left bracket's too high. You need to lower it.
Oh, okay. I'll lower it.
And the brackets are too close together.
Too close together? Why?
The shelf doesn't look safe. You need to move the brackets further apart.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move them.
And I think the shelf's too low.
What? It looks all right to me.
No, it's definitely too low.
Okay, I'll raise it.
Good lad. Do you want any help?
No thanks, Mr. Lovejoy. You read your book.
Remember, Coco, if you have any problems, you must call me.
Right, Mr. Lovejoy.
So, the shelf is too low.
High, low.
It's too high.
It's too low.
A high ceiling.
5 meters 30 from the floor.
A low ceiling.
1 meter 90 from the floor.
A high shelf.
2 meters 40 from the floor.
A low shelf.
47 centimeters from the floor.
And Coco's shelf is too low. So Coco is going to raise it. He's going to move the shelf up. He's going to make it higher.
If a shelf is too low, you can raise it. You can move it up.
If a shelf is too high, you can lower it. You can move it down.
Raise, lower.
Move up, move down.
Do you like my picture?
Yes, but it's too low. Raise it. Move it up.
Okay. Do you like my new shelf?
Yes, but it's too high. Lower it. Move it down.
Okay.
Yes, to raise and to lower. To move up and to move down. Now, Coco's shelf is supported by two metal brackets, but they're too close together.
Close together.
One bracket is too near the other bracket.
One bracket is too close to the other bracket.
The brackets are too close together.
If the brackets are too close together, the shelf isn't safe.
If the brackets are too far apart, the shelf isn't safe.
That's right. If the brackets are too far apart, the shelf will fall between the brackets.
Far apart.
Too far apart.
Paris and Rome are 1,100 kilometers apart.
New York and Tokyo are 10,790 kilometers apart.
And these two brackets are 1.5 meters apart. The brackets are 1.5 meters apart, but this shelf is only 1.4 meters long. So the brackets are too far apart. The shelf will fall between the brackets.
They're too far apart. Move them closer together.
Okay. There.
Move them closer together. Move them further apart.
Close, closer.
Far, further.
Now they're too far apart. Move them closer together.
Okay. There.
Now they're too close together. Move them further apart.
Okay.
And Coco's moved the brackets further apart for Mr. Lovejoy's shelf.
So, how's the shelf, Coco?
Fine, Mr. Lovejoy, fine. I've almost finished.
Well done. Any problems?
No, everything's fine, thanks, Mr. Lovejoy. How's the book?
It's very interesting. Coco, can I see the shelf?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, yes, that's much better. The shelf's level, and it's the right height.
Yes, I raised it.
Well done. Coco, the brackets are too far apart.
Too far apart? I moved them because you said they were too close together.
Well, they're too far apart now. They should be here and here.
That's where they were before.
Eh? Oh, well, it doesn't matter because we need a bigger shelf anyway.
A bigger shelf?
Yes, we got a lot of paint and this shelf's too short.
You want a bigger shelf?
Well, we've got a lot of paint.
Okay, I'll take this shelf down and put up a bigger one.
Good lad. Do you want any help?
No, thanks, Mr. Lovejoy. You read your book.
Now, remember, Coco, if you have any problems, you must call me.
Right, Mr. Lovejoy.
So, the shelf is the right height.
It's not too high.
It's not too low.
It's the right height.
High, height.
It's not too high.
It's the right height.
And the shelf's the right size.
It's not too big.
And it's not too small.
It's the right size. Size. The right size.
These shoes are nice.
Yes, but they're too big.
These shoes are nice.
Yes, but they're too small.
These shoes are nice.
Yes, and they're the right size.
And Coco's shelf is the right size. But is it in the right position?
Is it too far to the left?
Is it too far to the right?
Or is it in the middle?
The left?
The right.
The middle?
Is the shelf in the middle of the wall?
It's the right height.
It's the right size.
But is it in the right position?
So, how's it going, Coco?
Fine, Mr. Lovejoy. I've almost finished.
Well done, lad. Any problems?
No, everything's fine, Mr. Lovejoy. How's the book?
Oh, fine, fine. Coco, can I see,
Oh, yes. This is the new shelf. You see, it's longer.
Oh, that's much better, Coco.
So now the shelf's level, it's the right height, and it's the right size.
Excellent.
The new shelf is supported by 3 metal brackets. Here, here, and here.
Oh, yes.
Are the brackets too close together?
No.
Are they too far apart?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Good.
But the shelf is too far to the left.
What?
The shelf's too far to the left.
Too far to the left? Why?
It's not in the middle of the wall. It should be in the middle of the wall.
You want me to move the shelf to the right?
It would look better in the middle of the wall.
Okay. I'll move the shelf to the right.
Good lad. Do you want any help?
No thanks, Mr. Lovejoy. You read your book.
Very well, but don't forget, Coco, if you have any problems, you must call me.
Right.
And there we leave Coco, moving the new shelf to the right. The technical terms in today's program were...
Put a shelf up.
Take a shelf down.
The shelf is supported by metal brackets.
The brackets are too close together.
They are too far apart. They are 1.5 meters apart.
The shelf's too high.
Lower it.
Move it down.
It's too low.
Raise it.
Move it up.
It's the right height.
It's the right size.
And it's level.
It's too far to the left. Move it to the right.
It's too far to the right. Move it to the left.
Now it's in the middle.
Join us next time for more Everyday Technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
I've finished the shelf.
Well done, Coco.
I planned it, I bought the materials, and I put it up.
And I read a book.
Oh, by the way, how was your book, Mr. Lovejoy?
Very interesting, lad. Very interesting. It was all about putting a shelf up.
All My Own Work was produced by Gerard O'Malley, and you can hear more from Mr. Lovejoy and Coco at the same time next week. You're listening to English teaching programmes from BBC World Service.